Hey, welcome to the Higher Ed AV podcast. My name is Joe Way, and I am your host. And boy, do we have a good one for you today. I am back. I'm back. Now, I think this is probably the fourth I'm back that I've said and get these things going. But as you know, I've intended to get these back and get the episodes back and rolling. We took a little bit of with HETMA's Road to 10K, did a couple of special episodes, did a flashback episode, the last one, the replay from episode 30, when Hetton was officially announced, as well as we did a bunch of stuff from Infocom, posted those up for you all. And now we're transitioning. So one thing I want to tell everyone is you got to go to your favorite podcast station or wherever you listen to your podcast, and you're going to find something called HETMA Presents. All the specialty shows that we used to post here at Higher Ed AV Podcast are now going to the HETMA Presents channel, which you'll be able to see all of our sponsor things, all of our events, all of those things go there. And my show that started as interviews is now going back to interviews, and we are right back in with it today. And so with no further ado, everyone's favorite part of the show, where I stop talking and our guest starts. And Tim, welcome. Please introduce yourself. Tell people who you are and what you do.
My name is Tim Neviska. I am the Senior Audiovisual Solutions Manager.
That's a
at
mouthful.
Kenyon College. Yeah, believe it or not, I made that up myself. I should have made a much shorter title, but what that really means is that I am Tier 3 support for classrooms, and I handle all the events on campus. So,
okay, so you've got a double duty, so classrooms and events. But I need to start. I got to start with you picked your own title, okay? Because if I'm not mistaken, you've been there a number of years and stuff. So is this the point where you get there after so many years, we don't even know what you do? Just pick a title and roll with it.
It was sort of like that. It's like, your old title that you've had for 15 years or whatever it was doesn't really describe what you do now. So let's come up with one. And it was a process. I'm like, where do I go for a title? So I searched everybody on HETMA, on Avixa, on LinkedIn, you name it. And I had like 2 full pages of titles, all being very similar but different. And some of them I liked better than others, and some of them I knew my bosses would never go for. AV Guru was like, that would be good. It'd be easy to remember because my original title was something like Events and Classroom Technology Specialist or something. I don't know. That was probably wrong because I could never remember it. Like 15 years, I'd have to find my name badge and go, oh, yeah, that's what I am. But so this one I sort of remember.
See, I always tell my people, just pick your working title, because your business title, the one that's actually like because we're a state school, state classification and all that stuff is set. But I always tell people hey, if you want to be vice president of HDMI connectivity, roll with it. I don't care. Pick your title, whatever looks good on your resume. Give that to student workers. Let's get creative, A title's a title.
And I usually tell people that big long title and $5 will get you a cup of coffee over at the coffee shop.
Yeah. Pretty much. That's why I love my title, Executive Director of Digital Spaces. What is that? It tells you nothing about what I do, which is perfect because I can make it all inclusive if I want to have a say, or I can do complete deniability if I don't want to be any part of it. Wonderful having a title that no one understands. It's a great thing. So, all right. So let's go back then. So you have been there a number of years. Can you just do us a kind of a brief overview, walkthrough of your career trajectory there at the college? I know you were doing events and you did things even before you got there, but talk about your time in higher education, or even kind of start before. How did you end up rolling into that?
Well, at the time I answered the ad for the position, I was kind of between jobs and freelancing, and really actually enjoying the freelance gig. But I saw this job pop up, and I thought I should qualify for that, and it's not too far from home, and let's see what happens. And I imagine other colleges are like Kenyon. The procedure and the just took forever. It was literally months from the time I sent my resume in to the time that I got the call to do a phone interview, and then come on campus and do an interview, and then oh, we'd like to offer you a job, and so then more waiting and waiting, but it wasn't even sure what all was involved with this job when I applied for it. And then I was hired, and I still didn't know what all was involved with the job because nobody had the position before. So that was kind of good. I'd been in roles in previous jobs where I had to create a position, and I thought, okay, this could be good because the higher ups don't really have any expectations at this point of what this is going to be. So I can just kind of make it the way I want it to be. So
that's awesome. All right. So give now the overview. What is a day in the life?
Well, these days it's more about, I'd say it's a good, at least 75% of what I do is events. Luckily, the classroom team is getting better and better at diagnosing things to a level where they're not having to call me in. And that's good. I mean, for many years, it was just me doing the classrooms and just me doing the events, and
the one-man band.
The one-man band. And we had helpline students who would go out and try to take care of the tier 0, the tier 1. Somebody kicked out a cord calls, but I was still getting those. Somebody just couldn't see the cords, I guess. And the event thing, events happen when they're going to happen. So if I'm in the middle of an event and there's a classroom problem, well, it's going to wait until the event's over. So, so we added to the classroom team, and it's a little more structured than it used to be. But so the day in the life is usually, if I don't have an actual event the day of, I'm usually preparing for something coming up, or I'm testing equipment, or I'm doing repairs someplace. The larger projects. Sometimes it's just, well, you take this room, you take care of that, and that'll get it off of our plate. So that happens too.
When you said you're tier 3, because I know a lot of schools are different, where do you draw the line at tier 3, which really means tier 3 does everything 0 through 3 and higher? Because, well, you're the one that's got to be called when everything is done. But where do you draw that line? What does that kind of call between your support team and you and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's. I guess the unofficial line is if anybody else on the team has tried to fix it and failed, and they're thinking about calling an integrator or the manufacturer, and sometimes they will take it upon themselves to call manufacturer and sit on the phone with them for a while. That's usually when I get the calls, when all those options have failed. And or they usually will reach out to me before that point on Slack or something and say, hey, what do you think I should look at now? And so
so with your question then, along with that, so your events, saying you do about 75% of events now, What are those typically set up teardowns? Are they in your venues? What does that look like? What kind of support team do you have that goes with that? Student run? Because obviously you can't, I'm assuming you can't do them all on your own.
Well, you would assume that.
I wouldn't
Um,
want to.
well, the larger events um, are generally I staff with freelance help. Uh, I need somebody to come in that's qualified
Hmm.
because they a couple of years back, former VP kind of drew a line in the sand and said, "Yeah, classroom guys, you're not doing events." So um, so it's very rare that I'm able to pull any of those guys into um, an event and away from classroom, unless it's after hours when they wouldn't
Hmm.
be doing classrooms anyway.
Yep.
And then I really have to beg them, to give up some of their free time. So, um, guys that aren't used to events see it a little different than those of us who have done it for years.
Yep. Which actually, you're kind of leading me right into the next question. So, on James King's Slack channel a few days ago, Mike Peterson put something about hiring people that came from events into kind of the classroom technology group and kind of what the opinion was. My opinion is, events is a little more fast paced. You kind of led to it. Led to it when you alluded to it. I mean, when you said there, events happening, it's happening, right? You can't step away, even though they're not saying the classroom isn't important, but you're there. It's high impact. It's in the moment. Where classrooms, to be honest, is a little more laid back. Commercial integration is a little bit slower. Your setup and tear down might be, for a commercial is an integrator. It is installed. It's actually where live event might be throw down the XLR and gaff tape that thing because it's coming up in 2 hours, right?
Right.
So those types of things. So talk a little bit. Answer that question. The difference between kind of working in the higher ed environment between the events or coming in from events and then into that commercial integration side.
Well, I mentioned this in an upcoming article that I filled out recently that'll probably be coming to one of the higher ed AV forums.
Hitting one of the channels.
Hitting one of them, one of the written ones. So it won't be a podcast; it'll be
All right.
written. But I mentioned this that I had a supervisor at one point who said that AV people who do events do it because they're fun, and that never sat well with me because while I will agree that especially a big event when everything goes well, it's very fulfilling, very rewarding work. But if you're the guy sitting there at the soundboard and there's 4,000 people in the room and the mics aren't working, that moment's not fun.
Yep.
Uh, there's a lot of stress. And so, not to say that when you walk into a classroom and the system isn't working, there's not a bit of stress as well. But the classroom can generally be taken care of and after the class is over. And one of the things I've always told faculty is have a plan B in your back pocket that does not involve technology. As much as we think that we can stay up 100% of the time, we can't.
Mm-hmm.
Murphy's Law doesn't allow us to. Even if the stuff that we can control is working. It's not to say there won't be a network outage. Our little town here, we experience a lot of electrical outages during the course of a year. And some buildings have generators, some don't.
Yep.
And canceling a class isn't always the best option. Just have one plan that you can pull out of your pocket and say, today there's no PowerPoints involved.
Yep.
And that gives us that day to get it fixed.
Yeah. I mean, that's the saying, hey, switch to, this is going to be a discussion group today. We're
Yes.
going to talk about what the reading was, or what I talked about before this went. And what the thing is, those are the things that could actually end up being more valuable, right? That application of it. So it doesn't have to be lost time, but I agree. And of course, we never want an excuse. We want everything up, but like you mentioned, every piece of technology only has a lifespan, right? We're not typically ripping them out until that lifespan hits due, and then we're going to push it a little bit, right? Just to be good stewards of the money. So you're going to have a point where things will fail. They do go down. And I love how you even point out it's not even just, the technology fails or the whatever, or there needs a new cable or dongle, but it's, the fact is, you live where it snows, right? You live where there's winter things and power goes out, things happen, and right back to kind of what you were saying, like with, the events and that sense of, I love how you said people do it. I do agree with you on the thing, because it's fun. It's not fun though it is, but it isn't, right? Like I came through live events. I miss the rush a little bit. There's something to be said, and just even when I'd go back and, serve as a TD for a weekend or something for my church or something, and kind of get a little bit of a weekend rush back. But it is more stressful than sport. You feel great when it's over and accomplished and good, but of course we say with live events, it's only a success if no one knows you were there, right? So it's like, man, give me that. I want a little kudos, but I did so well, no one knows I'm here, so I'm already forgotten,
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal, to do your job, and it should be just like it's supposed to be at any time. And
yeah,
you don't I don't know, you can stress about things, but in the end, there's only so much that you can do, and getting upset in the heat of the moment is going to make it worse. So just
yep,
prepare,
100%.
and then hope that your preparation and your redundancies you put in, usually because it's something that has failed for you in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't rely on just one hot microphone.
Yeah, having those backups, or it's you did everything but forget to check the batteries until you go flip it on. You've already set up on stage, and then oops, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And you see the little meter on on the app going down and down and down, is and you're just praying that they get to the end before before you have to run back up there. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't want to be on the stage. If I can avoid it, I don't want to go up there, because I've told the presenter, there's a little switch right on the microphone. Turn it on when you get up there, and they don't, and then silence for 5 minutes, everybody looking over at your table, and then okay, I guess I'll walk up there and hit that switch.
The black shirt cameo.
Mm-hmm.
The black shirt cameo, as I used to call it. Yep, I love it. So to that, you alluded to writing something. Well, you wrote something else recently, kind of about an experience, kind of infocom over the course of years. Now, I want people, you got to go to higheredav.com, and you're going to go and you're going to find the article, and it's going to be there. But so without giving away the punchline of the article, I love when I have people who have the years of experience, especially through higher ed, and have seen a change. Will you give an overview of, it doesn't even have to be Infocom specifically, but the overview you've seen in the power of higher ed and our voice, and how that has changed over this time, especially in recent years?
Well, yeah, certainly in recent years. And to be quite honest, the reason that I came to HETMA was, I stumbled across HETMA, as I recall, via a rave launch at one point.
Nice.
And I think there was a mention of, this is a place for schools to, small schools, large schools, any of them to have a voice. And I think the first event that I went to, there was somebody there from a school, I think even smaller than the one where I am, who was talking about how they were out in the middle of nowhere, had a hard time getting integrators to come visit them, had a hard time getting integrators to do work in their area because it was not a big job, and they would need to be away from the big city for a long time where the big money was. And I said, that's my story.
Mm-hmm.
And since the founding of HETMA, those stories aren't the same anymore.
Yep. 100%.
And I'll try. I'll leave it there so that people will
go and read the article. See, that's how you do a proper cliffhanger right there. So do people go hiredav.com and go look it up. But I think you touch on something important, and HETMA was founded to kind of be the advocacy voice for us, and that's really has made a change, right? We have seen that, and we've seen how our voice as a collective body is now taken serious, right? And also the industry has changed. If you look at Avixa stats, over 35% are, and actually I think it's higher than that now, are end users that go to the show. And of the end user groups, education is the highest percentage of end user groups. And that means that, the manufacturers are now saying, hey, I want to come and talk straight to that customer, right? We still need our channel partners, and that's why we love considering ourselves a channel partner and in coordination. We're not, not just a membership group, not just a, community group, but a channel partner. And I think that's where we've seen that change and that impact, right? And I think it's obviously for the better because in a way, the line I always use is, while I'm a customer, I actually have my own customers, right? I am an integrator here. Now maybe whether I do the work of integration or not, I do serve at a certain point as in that channel line to where I need to be able to have a voice because I have my own customers and not the end customer, right? And I think that's where manufacturers and other, manufacturers, integrators, distributors have all found value in partnering with us because they can say, you know what, this is how I can find out, we want to put out products that you all want to buy, right? So let's get that voice of the customer to partner together and make that happen. So I think that's been a huge thing, and I've seen it a lot to the point where I almost can't remember what it was like not having the voice, right? And then to think HETMA's only been around for 6 years, so that's how long it's been. It hasn't been that long, right?
Right.
But in the sense, it has completely changed. So absolutely with that. Thoughts on that? That was a horrible. That's a horrible question for me now. See, I'm breaking host rules.
Well, I think at some institutions, the AV department, whatever they're called, they maybe are end users, but I see our faculty as actually being the end user because in many cases if we haven't actually done the installation, we've supported the installation. We have probably made changes to the installation. And on our campus, we try to do as many of the integrations as we can. In recent years, it's only been the big capital projects that have been done by an integrator.
Yep.
And then we still go back in and make changes because they didn't listen to us.
Yeah, I say that, training an integrator is a skill and takes time. It's one of those. It's funny because like, even we're doing like, and I love my integrators. People know that I like. I am one of those people. Well, I do believe I want to buy direct. Dear all manufacturers, I want to buy direct, and I do love doing things in house and controlling certain parts. I actually love integrators, and I rely highly on them. But I will tell you, the hard part is is actually training them to understand your standard. It's not as easy as saying, here's the bill of materials of pieces I use. I actually have my own processes and ways I put these in, and the way I, like all these things, how I name them, how I inform them, how do this, how it connects to the network, how we do. Like, there's so many areas that go just beyond. Here's the parts list, right? And to be able to train them and understand how that works, that takes time. And you find a gym and someone you can trust, all in, make them your partner. Like, that's my belief.
Right. And our experience has been that once we get one trained, then our main contact leaves and goes to another integrator or leaves the business altogether. And then we start at scratch again. And I think part of that is that we are, we're not seen as a huge customer. We're not like my alma mater, Ohio State, that is throwing a lot of money toward the integration. We just don't have those kind of budgets.
Yeah, well, that's where it becomes even more important for you to be able to have that voice, that control, that power of saying, because you can't afford to, and it's not like I can afford, like, same thing. I'm at UCLA. We have a big budget, right? Ohio State has a big budget. But that doesn't mean I can necessarily afford to make a mistake, but not as much. But I have a little more leeway than a lot of schools that go, hey, that we're a small budget location. I may only get you'll do this $1 million project every 4 or 5 years, right? Where you have to be able to rely on. I think that to me is like where our approved program is fantastic, right? What are the things that our industry trusts, our vertical trusts, right? Because that's not just marketing, material, right? I think that's so absolutely.
Yep.
I want to kind of go to now. You're our membership chair for HETMA. So talk a little bit there, kind of how. I mean, obviously new into it. We're trying to get in it, and you like jumped right into this. But kind of, where's your vision for it? Where do you, what? I don't know. I'm not. There's a question in there somewhere.
First thing is to sort of build a team. Take it as a team approach, and I think my vision is to sort of have people, regionally that are sort of point people in the regions, or maybe one in each of the states. Of course we're global now, so we're going to have point people around the world. At some point, there's a language barrier between those of us in the north and our friends down in Alabama and Louisiana, but there's even a bigger language barrier if we're talking about folks over in Asia and parts of Europe and so forth. So we're going to have to rely on our members in those places that are looking to be part of our expansion. And I think that's probably the most exciting thing about growing the membership is taking it worldwide.
Yep. Oh, I'm excited about that, and I can't wait to see kind of how this organization, like we just talked about, the power that we have, and not only power but influence, that ability to be a collective voice and advocate, right? Imagine that as it really grows globally, right? And being able to answer even we all have the same problems, right? Even as we grow globally, we're going to have culture and language barriers. But even as I found while I was, speaking at Infocom Asia, our panels, regardless if I think we were a collection of 4 different countries, but we still had the same problems. Like, everything we were saying was agreeing with one another, even though we had all came from completely different cultures, right? And languages and ways of operating. The problems are still the same. The things that we need to solve for are still the same, right? And I think that that's one of the things that we're going to be able to, that hopefully, and we will find as we end up, kind of expanding this out and being that touch point for everybody, right? Now, how we can deliver that information, and I love what you're saying. Get a person, get somewhere in each location that can kind of be the, I'm the chapter head or whatever we want to call it, right? And to be able to guide, and then be able to pull in the other, the other schools and the locals, because no one knows how to find the local schools more than the local people, right? It's easy for us at a national level, right? And that's actually one of the things I think made HETMA unique, because we actually grew top down. We actually grew as a partner from Avixa and the big, like we were known by all the, the influencer people before we were known by a lot of the smaller schools, which we're still not known by a lot of the smaller schools, right?
Right.
And so it's funny how it's kind of, which is backwards. Most organizations, community organizations, grow from grassroots out. We grew from top down, right? So it's a good problem to have, and we have the resources now to have that influence. But that's going to be the thing. I love how you're attacking that. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and you're right. I've heard you say this before. It's finding those people. How are we going to find those people that don't know about us yet, or maybe have heard of us but don't know the story well enough to know that they should be a part? And I've just started doing some research, starting in my home state of Ohio and looking at Avixa membership versus our membership. How many of those people are in both groups in the higher ed community? How many of those people that are in Avixa have not joined HETMA yet? And it's interesting to look at the statistics. And there are people who are HETMA members whose schools don't belong to Avixa.
Yep.
And then there are schools that are well-known schools that don't show up in either list.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the well-known schools are going to be the easier ones, because there's a lot of schools out there that I don't know.
And it's good, but it's also still finding them. Let's go, going full circle to how we even started the conversation today. Titles. How do you find something off a title? The more traditionals, like us, we follow typical IT titles, right? That's not necessarily going to have audiovisual in someone's name. They might be business analyst 3, right? But they just work under the AV department. So business analyst 3 does AV support, but there's business analyst 3 that works in desktop support or works in the call center, right? But they have different things. So I think finding those and those, I love what Troy on a meeting the other day said. He just sends support tickets to try to find the person. I'm like, hit that service now. That's a way to do it. I like that.
That's if it works, it works, right?
Yeah, that was interesting. That was interesting. Okay, so now we are getting now toward the end. If this is kind of where we transition to the rapid round, just some fun questions that have no right or wrong answer, unless I have an opinion of my own, in which case there could be a wrong answer. Now, everybody gets the same first question. Higher ed is about traditions. So, what is your favorite college tradition? And I might put a caveat: you can't say dot the I.
Well, dot the I.
You can.
That's a great one, and a controversial one right now at Ohio State is, when do you ring the victory bell? Because it's always been after a victory, and now they want to ring the bell before the game starts. So a little controversial among the alums. But I think I'm going to take it to a Kenyon tradition, because I've had this opportunity 3 times. And this is very unusual, but staff members are permitted to take part in the commencement ceremonies. And so I've had the opportunity to hand my three of my 4 children their diplomas at Kenyon while I've been here. So that's pretty cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So one of the popular answers is commencement is one of the popular answers. But to be able to actually hand the diploma, like, that's good. That takes it to a whole other level.
Now, see, I'm usually switching video during those times. So there's been 3 times when I've had to rely on somebody else to take over that job. And that's why I have folks that I really trust.
All right.
They can slide over into the other seat and not miss a beat.
I like it. I like it. So I typically, even though I don't really, there's only a couple of pre-done. This is turning into a new tradition because there is a planned second question. When I come out to Columbus, well, I guess when I come out to Ohio, north of Columbus, to come visit you one day, where are we going? What are we eating and what are we drinking? Where are we going?
Well, if it were next week,
okay,
I would take you to the Morrow County Fair, where I will be most of next week because I in my spare time, one of the things that I do, I am the president of the pork producers of that county.
Whoa. Say that again. This is the quality material people come for. Okay. You are the
president of the Morrow County Pork Producers. So we're an organization that our purpose is to promote pork. Everybody's, how did you get in that? Well, my oldest daughter, when she was in 4-H, decided she wanted to show a pig. And she did. And through some of the people that we met, we got involved with this organization. I haven't had a pig on the farm for several years now. And a lot of the folks don't either. It started out more as people who had large hog farms. Now it's more of, most of us are just kind of promoters. But the thing that we do is we have a food stand, and that's our moneymaker for the year. We pay 4-H groups to come in and work at our stand. The money that we earn always goes back to things at the fairgrounds or to other things for the youth of the community. So it's all about paying forward, and it's a just a good group of people, salt of the earth people that are, we meet once a month, but the fair is sort of our Super Bowl, and we have we have 2 big smokers going, and we're cooking. My wife's in there in the mornings flipping eggs, and my daughter works the cash register most mornings, and I do things too, and the food is great, and and it's an opportunity to give back.
That is fantastic. Okay, you're 2 for 2 on your rapid round questions. I should have led the whole show with talking about this. So now, off of that, so you said this, and then you got me at smoker and all this. Okay, what? Give me a secret recipe for pork. Like, what is like you said? I don't know. You're the expert here.
Well, I kind of oversee the experts because I'm not back there at the smoker, but I mean, my humble opinion, you can't go wrong if you start with pork. So,
okay.
But the main thing with the pork, our pork loin sandwich is one of our most popular. And the key to that is seasoning it right and cooking it low and slow till it's just the right temperature. And the National Pork Board will tell you 145 degrees. Do not go above 145 degrees.
145.
Yeah.
Okay. That's gonna take a while to cook at 145.
Yeah, it used to be that people wanted to cook pork a lot longer. There was fear of diseases that we haven't seen for more than 50 years. But now that it's 145 degrees, it's still moist, it's delicious, and right out of the smoker.
Oh, all right, all right. I'm thinking. I was already thinking of smoking something tomorrow. I might go to the store and do just for you. I'm going to do pork, and then of course that would also include bacon because
Of
all of my
course.
smoking includes bacon. So, oh my god, this is fantastic. I'm just going to delete the whole beginning of this show, and we're just going to talk about pork. Okay. And no, all right. Okay, leaving that. So you said you do this at the Morrow County Fair. That's
Yes.
correct, right? So give me your top three fair attractions that but outside of your booth, of course.
Um, top three, probably. Try to stay away from the rides because if I'm going to do rides, I'm going to go to a big amusement park. So that
Mm-hmm.
where the rides are
Head up to Cedar. What do they call it?
Cedar Point,
Cedar
where
Point. Yeah.
the roller coaster capital of the world. Where the rides are inspected a little more frequently. Let's say. Um, I would say the things that go on at the grandstand have a lot of appeal to me. Truck poles, truck and
Mm-hmm.
tractor poles, I
Oh
love. Um, they have a something called the rough truck, and it's somebody will have a kind of beat up old truck that they're running over a course of
yeah. Mm.
hills and jumps and stuff. That one's a lot of fun to watch. Um, Demo derby is always fun. Um, some one of the competitions that is always on the list is one that all of my children participated in, and that is they call it the Showman of Showman contest. So you have to win showmanship in your species to be qualified to show
Okay.
Showman of Showman, and then you're showing like all of them. Let's say that you get there by showing a chicken. Well, you're going to show a chicken in the Showman of Showman. You're also going to show a rabbit, a sheep, a goat, a hog, uh, steer, a horse, and they're all judged, and it's fun to watch because you get a kid who's used to dragging around a 2,000-pound steer, and they're terrified to have to hold a chicken, and vice versa. Kid
Yeah.
who showed chickens comes in and like, what is this big animal I'm supposed to control? But they have to go around before the contest and kind of figure out,
Mm-hmm.
find a friend who's going to show them how to do it. So that's up there on the list.
All right. Man. Okay. I feel like I definitely, you said this is next week. What am I doing next week? I feel like I need to get out there. Okay. Next off. All right. So, oh, by the way, that the food, even though you kind of, you had me with the, where we're going and that's, my answer actually for Columbus. So anytime I talk about Ohio, I miss my WG grinders.
Oh
I miss a
yes.
good grinder sandwich. The white pizza. I once had a staff member go out and they had to go to a conference, and I had them actually get me some and put it on dry ice and bring it back for me. So there we go.
Now the one thing that I did forget to mention, and so we were on food. One of the other things that we do as pork producers is on Saturday of the fair, there's a pie auction. All of the champion pies are auctioned off. And to say we go a little bit overboard sometimes would be an understatement. We buy a lot of pies. Again, the money goes back into running that department of the fair, so we don't
Mm-hmm.
feel bad if we've spent $1,500 on pies. And then we take it back over to our stand. Our friends in the dairy building give us a 5-gallon container of ice cream to go with the pie. So, and now because a lot of the ladies who bake the pies know that we're always there buying them, they will ask us ahead of time, what kind of pie do you think I should bake this year?
Oh. Ooh. And what kind of pies we doing?
Well, somebody mentioned the other day a cherry pie would be really good because I don't think we bought a cherry pie for a few years. So
All right,
cherry pie might be the pie of the year.
Oh man, you've got me good. This is great. All right. We kind of, we're coming. This one's going. Normally, I aim for 40, 45 minutes. We're already past 45, but we have a couple more questions. All right, here we go. We're gonna play a little game. We're gonna go back to a little bit of tech for a second here as we kind of close up. You rank these 5 connector types blindly. Rank them 1 through 5 blindly without knowing which is the next one I'm going to say.
Okay.
HDMI.
3.
Putting it okay, setting the bar right in the middle. VGA.
2.
You put VGA over HDMI. Okay, we're gonna have to come back to that. USB-C.
5.
Wow. Okay, you're causing waves here. Okay, RJ45.
4.
Okay. All right. So far you have whatever I say next is your number 1, and then you have VGA, HDMI, RJ45, USB-C. That's how you're ranking, and that means in number 1 without being able to change it, XLR. Is that how did you rank it?
It's perfectly. Yeah.
Okay. So you have to explain this.
I'm especially in events, you want connectors that are not going to just fall out of the.
All right, so VGA, you got the little screws.
VGA, you got the little screws. XLR,
lock that baby in.
I would have been equally as happy if instead of XLR you had said BNC.
Okay.
Another good connector. Yeah, HDMI has a tendency to fall out, doesn't make good connection. RJ45 has the little plastic clip that breaks. Okay. And little known fact that I learned at an Extron training a while back. Those little short RJ45 cables, by Dixie standards, are only supposed to be plugged in once. Oh, and of course, in the AV world, we plug them in until they stop working. But by Dixie standards, they're made to be plugged in once, and that's it.
All right.
But yeah. Right. So, and USB-C. I mean, I used to be on the committee to outlaw lavaliers in live events, but I could get on a committee to outlaw the USB-C.
All right, because that's the big push. USB-C, switchers.
If they could come up with a solution for the fact that it doesn't make good connection, it tends to get dirt particles, dust in the connector that it's hard to get cleaned out. Yeah, it's just when you thought you had seen the worst one, which HDMI, I might have shuffled HDMI down the list to be closer to USB.
But you did solid in putting it at 3. That was a solid. I purposely put that one. I thought I was like, okay, let's see where he ranks. That was good. I was thinking it would be a 3 or 4.
Just when we thought we'd seen the worst with HDMI, then they'd give us USB-C. I mean, the full size display port was better than HDMI.
Look at that! Oh, we've got controversy here. We'll have to see how people, all right.
I'd love to see the comments.
Yeah, I mean, I would put RJ45 1. I mean, that's where I'm going because I'm a network. Give me the cloud. I got to go to the cloud somehow.
Now, I'll give you the RJ45 if it's in an EtherCon.
Okay, EtherCon. That's full events there. Little new trick connector, and we're solid. All right. Okay. Very last question. And everyone does get the same last question, and this is just a minute. You get 1 minute. The show is yours. If you had your own show, you get 1 minute to talk, monologue on anything you want. It does not have to be about tech. It can be anything you like. The show is yours. 1 minute. Time starts now.
Okay. So it would probably be more of it might be better for a whole YouTube show, because one of the things that I discovered several years back were these YouTube guys who do will it run videos on automobiles. And I used to drag race, used to be a mechanic and all that back in the day. So I enjoy watching these guys. And I discovered one, started watching all his videos, discovered another one. And it got to a point where I can't keep up with all of them. I've kind of whittled it down to about 3. So I keep thinking, maybe in my retirement, I'll start a YouTube channel that just tells people, here's what's going on this guy's channel this week. If you want to watch it, this is, do sort of the critiques of which ones are the best episodes. If you have to miss one this week, maybe skip this one and go to this person's channel. But I think that would be that might be the
kind of little TV guide for YouTube.
Yes.
I like it. I like it a lot. You know what? I bet that would actually be popular. And you could do 2-minute segments, because a lot of people don't even want to watch the whole show. They just want to know what it was about. Get a little 2-minute segment. Here's your up, down, and gone. I love it. That's solid. All right. Last and most important question. How can people get a hold of you? I will put your LinkedIn in the show notes. But how can people get a hold of you if they'd like to connect with you further?
LinkedIn would be one. Of course, you can reach me on the HETMA community as well.
Absolutely. Awesome. And thank you very much. This was fun. We got almost an entire show just off the rapid round. One of the most fun rapid rounds. So thank you, Tim, for coming on. And everybody, I do encourage you to go connect with Tim and learn more. Of course, obviously, you can follow me at Josiah Way on all of the socials. Make sure you follow at HiredAV and hetma_org on all the socials. Get involved in the community. And as always, none of the opinions expressed here are necessarily those of our respected institutions and these sponsors of the show, or really anyone who would want to sue us. And thank you all. And if you didn't enjoy these opinions, there may be better ones next time. And we will see you soon.